Hi, and welcome to Dymphna's Devotion, and I'm Luke, Dymphna's Devoter. All right, third try is a charm with this video recording attempt. It was my fault I didn't plug in the microphone. The first time I was using no microphone, didn't have any plugged in. The second time I accidentally used the webcam microphone and the audio was horrible, and I'm not going to put you through that. You deserve better. You deserve quality. Which I don't know why you're here. Huh. Yeah, why are you here? Anyway, we're talking about speak boxes. So we're talking about ghost stuff, which is actually demons. And look, we're going to go over some more stuff too. First of all, I just want to talk about this. I'm plugging this. Yes. Am I sponsored by this? No. So go on to United States Grace Force website. This was written by Father Heilman, James Altman, and William Peckman. Great priests. And basically what it is it's essentially like a 40-day novena fast kind of deal. Kind of like another Lent. Right now, you can get it on clearance, actually, for a discounted price on the website. I will include the link below. Get it now while supplies last, of course. And if you don't get it, if supplies run out by the time you're able to get a chance to check it out, no worries. We're going to do a video series really soon. Not like next week soon, but in a few months soon. We're going to do all 40 days together right here on this channel. No, I did not get any permission from Father Richard Heilman, James Altman, or William Peckman to do it. But, hey, look, the book is getting phased out. I want to make sure that everybody gets this experience. We're going to do this together, eventually. And then I have also what I got for supporting the Exorcist Files podcast, hosted by Father Carlos Martins. After I pledged a certain amount, I was able to select my perks. And this was one of them. This was not only blessed by Father Carlos Martins, this was also touched to a piece of the wood from the true cross that Jesus was crucified and died on. Alrighty then. I also brought my St. Michael the Archangel shirt so we can defend us in battle. And since this is a spooky subject, let's say the St. Michael the Archangel prayer right now. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I was working on my Latin. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Say, Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Again, working on my Latin, not working on perfecting it. I'm far from that. I'm working on learning it. All right, this is a bit of a different video today. The last full video was a very personal story. Actually, a couple of personal stories. Maybe even a few. Including the origin story of Saint Dymphna. Now, we're discussing the severity of speak boxes. And I'm not just talking about the hardware speak boxes that you're able to buy as just the speak box itself. I think those exist, right? It's been a while since I watched a ghost hunting video. I'm also mainly talking about, there we go. Hope that lighting isn't too hard. Mainly focusing on the more accessible kind of speak boxes or ghost speaking apps, what have you, that are available on your everyday device, your smartphone. Don't download those either, because I have a few stories for you. It was around September of last year, 2023. I had the day off, and it was the middle of the week. And I was just taking a staycation, and what was going on was, well, I was really loading up on binging on those ghost hunting videos, because I thought they were funny. I thought they were hilarious, actually. I could pretty much just point out and tell you exactly what was fake. Like, this is fake, that is fake. Oh, they lifted the hair. I know how they did that. Oh, they closed the door. I know how they did that. Yeah, okay. So, what caught my interest, however, was the fact that some of these videos, not all of these videos had really high production of using like what I described a minute ago, the actual hardware that is solely for ghost interaction. Most of your independent YouTubers are actually using an app on your everyday smart device. There was this one app that was actually developed by some YouTubers, and I'm not going to mention who the YouTubers are. I'm not going to give any advertisement at all whatsoever to the YouTube channel. I'm sure if you really wanted to find it, you could find it easily. I don't recommend it, though. And the funny thing about me is I was actually binging on these videos the night before I decided to try out this app. But we'll get to that in just a second. My logic was you use this app, you could basically say anything and it will respond with anything. And maybe once in a while, it'll be a coincidence. But most of the phrases probably won't have anything to do with what you're actually saying. I also speculated that in a lot of these videos, they probably had somebody off camera somewhere away from the action. Like, say, two of the YouTubers were in a cemetery, right? And they're talking to their ghost app. A ghost says the name Monica or something. And they're all like, Monica? Huh? Monica? What? Huh? Monica? Huh? What? Why Monica? Oh, there's a tombstone that says Monica. Oh, wow. Oh. But I thought, okay, likely they scouted that cemetery out ahead of time. They picked out a random tombstone. They're like, oh, okay, well, this is a Monica right here. We're going to use that. You stand way over there so you can't get picked up by the microphones while we, are over here and you say Monica, and our first AD or whatever is going to signal you to say Monica. That's what I'm thinking. That's my logic. Because most of these ghost hunting YouTube videos really are fake like that. They really do use production like that. And look, that's okay. I don't have any problem with those channels. I actually have less of a problem with the channels that fake it for the views, because my idea is they're just telling their own fictional story, kind of like professional wrestling, right? They're telling their own kind of televised drama in their own way, right? Their own kind of reality television. They're reality television, right? There's one that I'm actually subscribed to. He's called Really Haunted. He's obviously not really haunted, not to take the magic away from him. Now I'm hoping I don't take any viewers away from him if there are any viewers of his channel watching this. That's okay. He is okay because I know he's doing it for fun, right? And I have nothing against that. Keep doing that. It's those that are sincerely doing it and are actually not faking it, because yes, I have learned that those do exist. Now them, I don't have a problem with them as people. I do have a problem with what they're doing. I don't agree with that at all whatsoever. And I'm about to get into why. All right. So we covered the YouTube channels and where I got the inspiration to download the app to try it out for myself. However, I was going to experiment because I was skeptical. All right. Skeptical mindset at this time last year. I was skeptical early in the morning. I was like, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Now, okay, I shouldn't say early in the morning. It was in the morning for sure. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to download this app. I'm going to see what it says on its own without my engagement at all whatsoever. I did not want to interact with it. I did not want to feed it anything with my voice. I did not want to engage. I did not want to get involved. I just wanted to experiment by seeing what random things it would say on its own without my interaction. Right? Does that make sense? We have that clear. I did not speak to it. I just wanted it to be on. So I did not, that whole entire day, I just left it on, and I did not say anything out loud. I kept all my thoughts in here. And it's very echoey in here. All right. I got to calm the humor down because this is serious matter. So, how those things work. Let me just, for context, get all this science stuff out of the way here. Apparently, what the app does is it taps into your phone's ability to detect electromagnetic or magnetic activity. So electric activity, like my computer. What you can do is you can go into an option setting. You can increase the sensitivity. So let's say if the sensitivity for the electromagnetic activity is really low, then it's what it has is this meter, this wave. So for anyone who's familiar with filmography and sound recording, let's say, okay, I'm talking into my mic right now. I'm using Streamlabs to record my voice. And we have these sound bars, right? And depending on how loud my sound bar is and how much output I want the mic to receive, right now I have like the volume setting all the way up at max. It's more sensitive to sounds, right? More sensitive to my voice. And you can see the sound bar, how it reacts to whenever you talk. Right now I'm in the red. Right now I'm in the green. Right now I'm in the yellow, but I'm also kind of a little bit in the red, right? So it reacts similar to that. I had it at a lower setting at first when I first tried it. It also uses your camera. So when you're using the app, your camera is going to be on. It's going to tap into your camera so it can see you. And I thought, what if there's somebody watching me? I don't know. Somebody getting paid full time, or maybe somebody doing this as a hobby. They're doing something else, and at the same time, they're watching somebody. That's stupid logic, because they'd be watching like a lot of people using the app. And what are they going to do? They're going to like hit something that feeds a phrase into every single one, and sometimes it's going to be coincidental. That's really dumb logic on my behalf. I don't know why I had that idea. That's just stupid. But you know what? I was open-minded to pretty much anything at that moment. It uses the camera also to detect. Now, I had this option off. I had this option turned off. But I have seen the ghost videos where they got like the connect. It's like a connect feature on, where if you are in the camera, it gives you that skeleton frame. You've probably seen this too in ghost hunting videos. And then they turn the camera to like a long, dark hallway. And at the end of the long, dark hallway, after a moment, they see like one of the skeleton, like the human frame figures popping up. And sometimes it's like wiggling. It's like dancing or whatever. And then, it's kind of all over the place because it's a spirit and it's not quite there. And the spirit is manifesting, apparently. I don't know. Anyway, I'm doing a horrible job explaining all of this, so I hope you're able to keep up. Anything that you don't understand, just go ahead and comment. I'll try and get the answer to you as best as I possibly could. And another detail I also want to include is apparently whenever it does pick something up, I guess the I don't know, the electromagnetic activity hits like a code or something in the application's program, and that's when it outputs a word or a phrase. And yes, the application is pre-programmed with a certain limited number of words and numbers. I was able to get it to say phrases without saying a single thing. Sometimes, boy, did they hit a little too close to home. All right, we're going to get into that now. All right, enough of me beating around with a burning bush. So I had it on, and I had it set down horizontally, camera facing upward, right? Facing only the ceiling. Didn't see me. It wasn't seeing me at all whatsoever. I was not in the camera. And I decided to just leave it on while I'm just doing my day off activities of absolute laziness. Started with breakfast. So I had my coffee, and I had my cereal, and I'm sitting there. It's on, waiting for it to talk, looking around. I'm starting to feel a little awkward now. I'm starting to feel a little ashamed for using it, a little embarrassed. Like, I'm a grown man. Why am I using this thing? This is like a kid's toy. This is like Pokemon Go, right? Looking out the window, kind of a cloudy day outside. Then my mind starts to wander, and I'm thinking about dates I have coming up, things I have to do. Was seeing somebody at the time, so I was thinking of like, all right, what she wanted to do. And then I'm like, okay, where in the month are we? Where in the month of September are we again? So I have so to describe my kitchen, it's a rectangular shaped kitchen. I eat in the kitchen. I have my dining table at the far end of it by the window. And then on the other far end of the kitchen is a wall where I have a Catholic calendar hanging. And I'm looking up like this at the Catholic calendar to see what, to kind of get an idea of all the dates and the amount of time I have coming up for certain things. And the moment my eyes go up to the Catholic calendar, finally a phrase comes out demanding me to back off. All right, but it was basically, what it does is it's a text to speech. And you can pick any voice you want. You can pick like a spooky voice, or you can pick like a soft female voice. I picked the female voice because I didn't like the spooky voice. I just thought it was cheesy and kind of scary. Anyway, I wanted to use the soft female Siri voice, the GPS voice. And it said, back off. And it caught me off guard. I was like, because it was aggressive. It kind of came off as aggressive, and I wasn't expecting that at all whatsoever. And it was the very same moment that my eyes locked onto the Catholic calendar. Like, it startled me a little bit. Goosebumps could be seen on my arms. My arm hairs are raising up. I'm like, you got me. You got me good. I'm thinking this. I'm like, okay. All right. Touche. Ghost app. You got me.
Probably just a coincidence, Jimmy.
Golf clap. Well done. I'm thinking this, not saying any of it out loud. So then I'm looking at the goosebumps on my arm, and I'm just like using sheer willpower to just will the goosebumps away. And I'm just like, come on. Letting my logical, rational, reasoning, thinking abilities to kick in. And it's just like, okay, this is one of the spooky phrases I should have expected, because it'll probably continue to say things like, I'm under your bed, I'm watching you, I'm with you, I'm right behind you, don't look behind you, my name is Sarah, we've been trying to contact you about your extended car warranty. Okay, that's an old joke, a really old joke. I can do better than that. How about no jokes? Impossible. Anyway, things like that. It continued saying more things periodically, but the phrases were few and far between. I'm kind of reading off of bullet points that I have here because my mind gets a little disorganized. I do tend to ramble. So I had to write out the bullet points, not a full script, bullet points to keep myself on track. It will occasionally look like I'm reading something, because I am. Because I'm making sure I'm staying organized here. Okay? Because I'm usually a pretty unorganized person. Oh, you should see the rest of my office. All right, so it did continue to say things. Again, phrases were few and far between. And they didn't seem as relevant, probably because I wasn't really giving it a whole lot of ammunition, I guess. So I came in here in this room. I had the setup a little bit different. Monitors were over here. Computer was on the floor or over here. I had a small television right here on this foldable table last year. And I had my PlayStation here. PlayStation 4, as I think I had my PlayStation 4 in here. And yeah, I did have the futon in here too, actually. Come to think of it. The futon's been in and out of this room a couple of times within the past year. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Not interesting at all whatsoever. So I put on the YouTube video from that YouTube channel where I got the idea from to use this app, because apparently they were responsible for programming this app or had something to do with it. I don't know. And I thought I would leave the app on, and I thought I'd do something funny. I thought it would be pretty funny to see if the app would respond to the YouTube video. So I put the phone right next to the speakers. I have the speakers over here, and at the time they were over here, but that doesn't matter. It's not important. And I just wanted to see if it would respond. Now, I wish what I had done was write all the things it said right after it happened. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I am working off of a year-old memory right now. However, I promise you, everything that really stood out, I remembered. Everything that was spooky will be mentioned in this video. So anything else that I didn't remember, It just wasn't spooky enough, not relevant enough. And yeah, it did kind of respond to some of the things that was coming out of the YouTube video, but it was kind of just, the phrases were just spread out, so spread out that I just kind of thought, okay, well, that might be a delayed thing, or that's probably a coincidence.
Probably just a coincidence.
So the host of the YouTube video explained how the activity depended on magnetic activity. Decided to experiment further by putting it up against electronics. But what I did first was I increased the sensitivity that I mentioned earlier on in the video, so that when I would put it up against like my computer and the monitors and the TV and the PlayStation, you would see it react more and go burr, 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 burr. And this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. Now, the speak box didn't always say something when the magnetic activity was increased, when the sensitivity was up, right? But I did notice it increased heavily right in the... Should we get to that right now? Yes, let's get to that right now. Because I did scan it in here, and I scanned it all throughout the apartment, and I took it in the hallway. So I did take it out in the hallway of which, also connects the bathroom and the other bedroom. And I did bring it up to the bathroom doorway. Now, in fairness, there is electric activity in the bathroom doorway. But it's more like up here. Now, if I were to scan it up against, like the computer, right next to the computer is when it really freaks out. If I were to put it up against the light switch, I would not expect anything different. Like wiring and all that, wouldn't expect anything different. But it didn't really bug out that much at the light switch. And when I brought it downward, because the light switch is like up here, like more like up here, give or take, right? Well, it was when I would bring it to, I don't know, the same level where you would reach for the doorknob. Of course, the door was wide open. This is the doorway. So right around where you would reach for the doorknob normally, that's when it really started to spike a little bit more. And I thought that was interesting. Is it picking up that little metal part where, when you close the door all the way, the metal latch kind of connects to the metal frame? Do you know what I'm talking about? Or am I just sounding stupid? There's that little metal piece that allows you to close the door all the way. Anyway, I am sounding stupid. But that's when it would really start to spike for whatever reason. There was more activity right there. Wasn't too sure why that was the case. Well, anyway, I continued to scan it throughout the rest of the apartment, but I was really excited to get in the kitchen and scan it along the refrigerator and along my refrigerator magnet. So I took one of my refrigerator magnets and I scanned the phone right along the magnet, and it did say something in the form of a greeting, but I can't exactly remember what it was. It wasn't particularly interesting. If it was, I would have remembered exactly what it said. Because this is one of the phrases that I do remember by heart. Is when I finally got in the living room, and I was scanning it by the window, and I got to the far right, because I have a huge window in the living room. Right when I got to the far right end of it, that it said, "I'm over here," in its female text-to-speech voice. And I ignored it, didn't think much of it, and like, okay, that's one of those spooky phrases, right? The pre-programmed spooky phrases. Because that's what my logic was. I'm just thinking that's pre-programmed to say certain phrases, because the YouTube channel did admit that, yes, it's programmed to say certain words. Of course, it has to be. It has to work that way. But I'm thinking to up the spooky factor of it, it says things like, "I'm in your closet," or, "I'm waiting to kill you," or something like that. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because never has it followed up with a phrase it said earlier. Most of the phrases were pretty forgettable, except for the "back off." I was not expecting a sequel to "I'm over here." So I continued to scan both my bedrooms, and then I got back into the bathroom, and I scanned it along the mirror in my bathroom. That's when it said, "I'm right here." And then I got the chills, but I'm trying to ignore it. I'm trying to not allow myself. I'm putting my, willpower into not being scared.
Coincidence.
I'll admit, like I said, I wasn't expecting it to continue from a previous phrase. I was just expecting pre-generated and randomly selected phrases that sounded creepy that I would utter once in a while. And sometimes it would seem like the moment was just right, you know? Then I brought it into here in my office, the guest bedroom, where my PC setup is. I sat down, put my phone down on this wooden desk right here, like right around here. Camera facing up, only seeing the ceiling and not seeing anything that I was doing. So once again, the camera had absolutely no visual of what I was doing. And I continued to refuse to speak. And I had, not this rosary, because I just got this rosary in July. It was a different rosary. It's my combat rosary that I got from United States Grace Force Podcast. Website, their podcast too. Richard Heilman. Check them out. Anyway. And no, I'm not getting any. They're not my sponsor. I'm not getting anything from them. I will plug them for free all the way. So I had my metal combat rosary right here on this foldable table here last year too. It's also been all over the place. I had my little rosary prayer booklet too, like a rosary guide. And I had my Bible here on this table together. The camera did not see any of that. All right? Got that context out of the way. So I thought, well, I'm going to continue to wait for it to say absolute utter nonsense, but I also have to do my daily obligations. I have to read some scripture today. I have to pray my rosary. So I thought now what I could do is I could pray the rosary in my head, not pray it out loud. I could pray it in my head, or I could just read my Bible, do my Bible reading for the day. I'm kind of debating with myself what I want to do. And at the time, I'm also facing away. I'm facing this direction at that time, and while debating what to do. And then finally, I come to the conclusion that I'm going to just pick one. And I first decided to pray the rosary. So I grabbed my rosary beads from this table here. And as soon as I reached out, and the timing is important here. As soon as I grabbed the prayer beads in the same motion, me grabbing the prayer beads, it said, kneel. Okay, so I'm like grabbing the prayer beads, kneel. Kneel. You know what I mean? Not the name Neil, not Neil, Neil. It said kneel as in Kneel, kneel. As in get on your knees and kneel while praying. It was a command for me to kneel, to get on my knees while praying. Yes, that kneel. To get down on my knees like this and kneel while praying. By the way, no joke, I'm about to show you a clip of this right now. The first time I attempted this video, I'm glad I still have this footage. I'm glad I didn't delete it right away out of frustration. As soon as I got to this part of the story, that light flickered. The light that is on my face right now flickered. Didn't flicker this time. Here's a clip of that. And here's a clip of my reaction too. Hope you enjoyed that. All right. So I changed my mind. I'm not going to pray the rosary. I'm not going to let this ghost demon app thing tell me what to do. So I put my rosary beads down. And I picked up my Bible and I decided to read my Bible instead. But then I thought, you know what? I want to see how it reacts to Gregorian chant. Yes. Gregorian monk chant music. So what I did was I opened up YouTube again. Well, YouTube was left open. But anyway, searched in Gregorian chant singing the rosary or something, whatever. Picked a long form video, really long one, maybe a couple of 3 hours long. Played it to set the mood. And then I thought I'm going to put my phone right in front of the speaker to see how it reacts. That's when the phrases started to become more frequent. So as I read the Bible with the chant music playing, the speak box first said, bright light. Then it immediately said, within the same minute, like a couple heartbeats later, it said, "Run now." All right, so I kept the Gregorian chant music playing. I finished my Bible reading for the day. I think I got a few chapters in. Can't remember where I was at. I think I might have been in Deuteronomy. But anyway, after leaving it on for a few more minutes, it said nothing else. So then I turned the app off. I closed it out. And I was like, wow, programmed to respond to or react to Gregorian chant. That's interesting. But then the kneel part was what really lived rent-free in my head. So at that moment, my skepticism slowly started to fade away. And I wasn't so skeptical about it anymore. Now, around this time, bear in mind, I was reading the Bible, I was praying the rosary, I was a believer around this time, but I was a skeptic over these ghost apps. It was that same week, because it was at the end of the month of September. So it would have been September 30th. I had a concert in Madison. You could probably look up and find out on Google what concert that was, but that's not important. I had a concert to attend in Madison, Wisconsin, September 30th. I don't live very close to Madison, so it was a bit of a drive, and I didn't want to drive really far in the middle of the night after the concert. I thought it would just be easier for me to just book a hotel, stay at the hotel for the night, leave the following Sunday. Enjoy Madison for a little bit, downtown Madison, and then leave back to where I live. So that's when I decided, when I was at the hotel, I decided to take the opportunity to experiment again. So I had the speak box on when I was getting ready to leave, getting ready to check out, and I was like showering and whatnot. So I had it on while I was in the shower, and it said, "Who's he?" when I was in the shower. Well, I'm coming out of the shower, I'm drying myself off, and I thought I would try another thing. You know what? I'm going to say anything out loud. It's going to be prayers. So I decided to say the Our Father and some Hail Marys. I decided to pray facing my phone. I got through the Our Father. I got somewhere in the middle of the Our Father, and it said, "He's funny." And I got through the Our Father all the way, and then I continued with some Hail Mary prayers, and it didn't say anything after that. Because the demons hate Mary. I think they hate Mary more than they hate Jesus, because Mary is what they wanted to be and are not. So it was a couple of weeks later that, I think it wasn't the very next weekend, I think it was a couple of weekends later, where I went on a ghost walk tour with my at-the-time girlfriend. All right, we get all the way through this ghost walk tour, and at the very end of it, we're able to have some casual conversation with the tour guide, and I brought up the speak boxes, the ghost apps with the tour guide, and apparently he did. Yes, of course. Obviously, he did use one. And very recently. Because they were expecting a kid at the time. And I think his wife was still pregnant. I don't think they had the kid yet. And they were working out the kid's room. And they're trying to figure out where to put the baby carriage. And that's when the app said something that was very relevant to what they were talking about. I can't remember exactly what it was. And he was able to save it to his history. Shortly after that, I'm reading the Old Testament, right? And I get to the part where it was King Solomon who asked a witch or a necromancer to conjure up a ghost. I think it was the ghost of Samuel? Because he wanted to consult the ghost of Samuel. And having done that, he got punished. Now, you might have to fact check me because I'm going off of memory here. I might have to correct myself in the comments too. But true story in the Bible, that is in the Bible. So these sorts of things, communicating with the dead, is in the Bible. It is. And it is taboo because God did punish the person who communicated with the ghost. God doesn't want that stuff, because by doing that, we are playing God. And we cannot do that. That goes against the first commandment. Thou shalt not worship any other God before me. And now, a lot of atheists think, I have no master, I have no God, I have no idol. That's not true. They are idolizing themselves, and they're seeing themselves as their own God. They're serving themselves. So, one way or another, no matter how you want to look at it, we're serving someone, right? So if we're going to be serving someone or something, we might as well serve the one true God. Correct? So, yes, I committed by doing that. I committed a grave sin, I will admit. But you know what? As soon as I figured that out, I went straight to confession as soon as I could. And I confessed using the app. I didn't stop there. I confessed saying Bloody Mary in the mirror. I confess playing with like Ouija board apps on the phone and Ouija boards websites on the computer. I confess because I didn't actually use an actual Ouija board with the actual physical board and the physical planchette. No, I used software stuff, app stuff. But I confessed messing around, dabbling with all of that. I believe I was involved when I was living in California with. I didn't use the tarot cards. But if I gave a friend permission to read tarot cards on me. And I thought, you know what, that probably counts too. I'm going to make sure all of these doors are closed. I'm not going to leave one door open that the devil can get through to get to me, right? Not having any of that. So I made sure to confess all of that stuff. So I closed all doors with that confession. I confessed every occult thing that I meddled in, thinking it was a game or whatever. Why did I close all those doors? Not leave one single one open. And I haven't since used any of that stuff. I refuse. I've renounced all of it. I've even since said deliverance prayers. I've said deliverance prayers regarding generational curses. And everything. I just want to make sure that my relationship with God is pure and untainted. That is important to me. Whether I become a canonized saint that ends up on a calendar or not, I don't care about that. I just want to have a strong relationship with God. God, Jesus, Jesus' mother, the mother of Jesus, and the entire body of Christ that includes saints like my Saint Dymphna. So that's why I think it's okay for you to talk to your patron saint, because your patron saint is a part of the body of Christ. Because very recently I was drowning in depression. You look at it this way: when you're drowning in depression, it's like you're actually drowning in water. And Jesus reached in to save me. And the part of Jesus' hand that just happened to grab me was Saint Dymphna. Pulled me out of that. And that was just a few weeks ago. That's very recent. So that consists of all my Speakbox stories. However, I will have a bonus story for you. Oh man, I'm giving myself more to edit. This recording is already 47 minutes in. Ouch. Anyway, what it involves is we're going back in the timeline, way back to 2008, late 2008. And at the time, I was in active duty Army. I just got out of a 15-month deployment because at the time, President George W. Bush, yuck, thought it was a great idea for this surge, is what he called it, a surge. Deploy more soldiers, get as many bodies, fill as many body bags out in Iraq and Afghanistan as possible, and extend their deployments by 3 months. Before it was 12 months, and now we had to be deployed out there for 15 months, which is completely ridiculous, because what's going to happen with the soldiers, they're going to become more complacent and lazy, and you're probably going to fill more body bags by doing that. It's just so stupid, because, you know, it does things to you when you're on alert and on guard that much for 15 months straight. It's absolutely awful. Anyway, I was new still at the time. I didn't have enough leave built up because I had taken 3 weeks in the middle of that 15-month deployment for R&R, and I was waiting to be able to use more leave later on. Like I think I was waiting for Christmas. I think it was around Christmas, right? So I didn't want to go on leave for Thanksgiving. I wanted to just keep it close. So I came up with the great idea of having Thanksgiving with a friend and his family, and they were in Georgia. So I was stationed in North Carolina at the time, Fort Bragg. It used to be called Fort Bragg. I don't remember what it's called now. So we went to Georgia for Thanksgiving. Got there the night before, stayed the night at his sister's, and she had It was a figurine like this, posable, but I don't think it was a figurine that you could pose. I think it looked like this, though, just so you have a visual in your head. But it wasn't posable. It seemed to be locked in the yoga meditation pose, with the pretzel legs. Oh, sorry about that. You saw my hairy legs. Yeah, I'm wearing shorts. It's in the high 70s in Wisconsin right now. So, yeah, I'm definitely wearing shorts. I love shorts. Sorry you had to see that much skin. Anyway, so it was like the pretzel leg pose, right? And the hands like this, because it didn't have fingers, so it would have like this, resting on knees. And that's how it was facing the television. And I thought, you know what, that's interesting, because I was pretty sure I saw a sculpture like that in Iraq. It's coincidence. I didn't realize that they were that popular. Didn't think much of it. Didn't realize yoga was demonic yet at that time. I didn't have any clue. That had not crossed my mind. Not entered my thought at all. At that time, I didn't know very much about demons at all. It was 2008. It had been years since I saw the Exorcist movie. Paranormal Activity wasn't even out yet. The Conjuring wasn't out yet. Paranormal Activity was like 6 to 9 months from being released in theaters. I don't think it was released in theaters until like the fall of the very next year, like late summer, early autumn of 2009. And stories of people's experiences with demons and all that were very few and far between at that point in my life anyway. Obviously, the Exorcist files didn't exist yet. I had not heard of Father Carlos Martins or Father Dan Rehill or John Zeta or Father Chad Ripperger. I don't even know if all of those guys were even exorcists yet by that time. Maybe they all were, but I wouldn't have heard of them. So anyway, she didn't have a whole lot of bedroom space, so I had to rack out of the couch in the living room next to the coffee table where that sculpture sat in the yoga meditational pose facing the TV. I guess that's also like a Hindu, I mean, not a Hindu, but like a Buddhist pose too, Buddhist meditation pose. It's not just limited to Hindu yoga. Fell asleep on her couch because, that was my only option to sleep overnight, or I could have gotten the carpeted floor, but the couch is more comfortable. And I'm sleeping facing the ceiling. And at this point in time, I did not know the significance of 3 a.m. because, like I said, there was no media or demon possession stuff, or anything covering the significance of 3 a.m. or demon possession or demon hauntings or demon oppression or any of that stuff. It was just very few and far between, if it even existed at all. Right? And if it did exist, I just didn't see it yet. I promise you. Somewhere in the middle of the night, I feel something right in my face. Like it is so overbearing, so overwhelming, it woke me up. And it could have been a psychological thing. You could argue that. I don't know. But at the time, yeah, I mean, it could have been psychological in the sense that it was my second full year in the Army. So at that point, I'm used to Army guys messing with me, playing pranks on me, whatever. Goofing with me while I'm trying to do something like sleeping, So maybe I was just having a dream. That could be. But I felt like something was right in my face, like this, like as close to how I am right now to the microphone, just right there, just glaring at me menacingly, and I could feel negative energy, and it was just overwhelming. It was overbearing, and it was enough to wake me up. And I really thought someone was right in my face. And I wake up, and I don't see anyone there. At that point, I'm confused. I'm looking around. It's dark. Like, what time is it? Who is in my face? I'm hearing snoring. I didn't hear any footsteps scamper away from me. I turn around. My eyes are adjusting to the dark, but there's also enough light coming in from like the street lights through the windows. And I'm able to see the figurine is not facing the TV, it's facing me. So I reach out and I just turn it around so it's facing the TV as it was the night before. I'm like, that's odd. By the way, this I bought at Office Depot. I'm trying to get back into art. I'm trying to get back into drawing. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into like drawing things, and I'm using this as reference. So that's what this is for. It's posable, by the way. And at the time, I had a flip phone. It was late 2008. I didn't have a smartphone yet. I think I might have heard of the iPhone around that time. I can't remember. But anyway, I had a flip phone still. So I reach out, grab my phone, flip it open, check the time. 3 a.m. Somewhere in the 3 o'clock hour. I'm like, oh man, it's really early. Too early for me to get up. And it's Thanksgiving. I flip the phone, put it back down on the coffee table, roll over on my stomach, and I'm like, all right, no more feeling weird things in my face. I'm going to roll over on my stomach. I'm going to fall back asleep. And I did. And I didn't think much of it. And I continued to not really think much of it again for the rest of the weekend and onward until I got curious about like demons and all that and demonic activity. And I looked up, I guess, the witching hour. I don't even remember what got into my head about Googling 3 a.m. and finding out about how 3 a.m. is notorious for experiencing demonic activity. And that's when it just kind of made me ponder. Now, could this have been a subconscious thing? Did I not hear about this before? Is this really the first time I'm hearing about the whole 3 a.m. significance? Or did I really have a demonic experience? I will let you decide on that. This video is long enough. Happy Halloween. Don't go around messing with the occult. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. I will get back to your comments soon. I'm very busy. Thank you for subscribing too. I was not expecting this many subscribers this quickly. Do not mess with any occult stuff. Do not mess with the Ouija board. Do not mess with ghosts. Not even apps on your phone. Not even apps on the computer or on websites. I did program a Magic 8-Ball one day, but that's different. That really was programmed with random phrases that I wrote out just to troll with friends. I'll talk about that another day. This video is long enough. God bless you. Ave Maria.